One of the biggest questions you'll have to ask yourself as a clothing brand owner, whether you're just thinking about starting one up or you're already running one, is do I want to actually make the clothing and hold on to all the inventory? Or do I want to use drop shipping and print on demand as the business model for my brand? And this is a really good question to ask yourself on your journey, because there's huge consequences if you decide on the wrong path for your brand. And I want to help you answer this question really simply for your own clothing brand by just sharing with you my 8 years experience using every single one of these business models within my brand and sharing with you exactly what I'd do if I were to go back from scratch and start all this over again. If you were to have asked me this question about 5 years ago, I probably would have given a flat blanket answer, which is I think every single clothing brand should hold on to their inventory, should make their clothes custom, and should handle all of the packing, all of the picking, and all of the shipping for their brand. And 5 years later, I've completely changed the way that I feel about all of this. And the reason for that is because I've seen firsthand just how difficult from a financial perspective carrying inventory can be for clothing brands, especially ones that are just starting up, don't have any proof of concept, and it's just an insane risk financially. Let me just bring to your attention all of the problems that can potentially happen with holding onto your own inventory. There is your products going stale and the seasons passing and just trends changing and you getting stuck with all this inventory. There's the cost of constantly having to invest in more and more inventory and the overhead that's associated with that. And you need to be able to fund that inventory all the time. So from a cash flow perspective, it can be really difficult investing in inventory and at the same time investing in things like Facebook ads and TikTok ads and keeping your brand going. And at the same time that there's all this financial risk you're assuming with your brand holding on to inventory, it's also very logistically complex, and it becomes more and more logistically complex the more inventory that you need to order, the more people that need to be packing and shipping out orders all the time. You basically need to build a full-blown team that's doing this all the time, and the financials get confusing. The actual logistics of sending out the orders on time gets really confusing. And so honestly, what I'd recommend straight up for your brand is if you're doing this for the first time and you're not stoked to focus on the back end of your brand 24/7 and constantly have to work on the inventory and do all of this for your brand 24/7, running a team, packing all of the orders and all this stuff, I honestly recommend just going with either print on demand or working with a third-party logistics company, a 3PL, and have them handle all of that for you. Now, the big concern with partnering with a 3PL or using print on demand is that you have thinner margins technically. Every single product that you sell through print on demand or through your third-party logistics company, there's going to be extra expenses tucked in there. Whereas if you just held on to the inventory itself, from a profit margin perspective, you would be making more technically holding onto the inventory and making all of that clothing yourself and shipping those orders out. But the thing that you may be overlooking here is that when you're holding on to this inventory, it's not like you're going to be capitalizing on every single piece of inventory that you're holding. Whereas if you're running print on demand, you're not going to be investing in inventory that's just sitting on the shelves and never ends up selling for you. That's the one little component that you miss when you're thinking about these profit margins here. Sure, you don't make as much money when you're using print on demand because they take a little bit more off the top every time that you make a sale. But the one thing that you have going for you with print on demand is that you're not investing in hundreds of products that may end up just sitting on the shelves and never really be able to sell in the first place, or products that you may have to only be able to sell at a discount. Now, before we get into the juiciest part here, I want to let you know that Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd, and if you struggle with designs, I seriously recommend that you try them out. You post your project on Design Crowd, whatever design you're looking for, designers from all around the world are going to compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. I've legit sold thousands of these designs on my website, and I got them all made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you, or just use the discount code apparel when you post a project on Design Crowd. Back to it here. When I first started, my first 3 or 4 years, I was holding all the inventory at my place, getting it all made at a screen printing facility, driving my car in, picking up all the boxes for it, sorting it all, packing it all. And it was a great experience for me because I learned what that looked like. And I honestly was exposed to how much that just wasn't for me, that side of the business. It just wasn't for me. I'm much more of a front end guy. I like working on the marketing, working on the branding, but all of the logistical components It's just not for me. And so I learned that after about 3 or 4 years, and I ended up partnering with a third-party logistics company who took all my inventory, they sent out all the orders, and just taking that off my hands really boosted my brand. Like the amount of sales that I was able to get because I was just focused on marketing 24/7. It just got so much better. Like it just got better and better and better for my brand because I wasn't being held down by having to focus on all of that for my brand. And I've also dabbled with print on demand, and print on demand is equally as good. The only difference is that you're not making your clothing as custom as you want it to. And so if you have sort of a generic lifestyle brand, it's great to use print on demand as a business model. What I want to say to really make this simple for you to understand, because I realize I've just been babbling here, giving you as many details as possible, is a lot of this comes down to knowing yourself and what you enjoy working on. If you're a clothing brand owner who is like me and really enjoys the front end stuff, like marketing their brand, creating content, communicating with your audience, and building a brand, and the logistical back end side of production doesn't excite you, then it's really good that either you partner with somebody who can handle that and make all of that happen within your brand, or you partner with a third party logistics company, or you use print on demand for your brand. Because otherwise, it's really going to hold down your brand and it's not going to be something that's going to allow you to thrive. Whereas on the other side, I know brands like Whole Strength. I talked to Justin, the owner, and he does, millions of dollars in sales. His brother actually went to school for production and organizing and the whole back end of running a business. And so he has him running that whole side of his company and it works seamlessly. He found a partner that makes it work and he enjoys working on that part of his business. And maybe that's you. Maybe you really enjoy really making the back end of your brand efficient. You like having it all set up so that, when an order comes in, the label's printed and everything just flies really, really naturally. And that's what you're best at. If that's what you're best at, then definitely do that and hold on to that inventory and make it work for your brand. So it really depends on you and what you like to work on and what you're best at within your brand. And the final little note here is for any brand that's starting up in the first couple of years that's not doing private label and is only doing white label, meaning they're just taking blank hoodies, they're just taking blank tees, tearing off the label, putting their logo on it and trying to sell it. I recommend for those brands to try using print on demand rather than investing in a crazy amount of inventory. Because from a logistical standpoint, print on demand is going to save you so much money. It's going to open up so much of your time to actually focus on marketing. And if you don't have any special little customizations in your clothing, which would be basically the only reason to make that clothing yourself and make it custom, then I seriously recommend using these print-on-demand providers like Printful or Printify. If you've been thinking about starting up a brand or you're already running one, check out the Apparel Success Mastermind. You get direct access to me, access to all my courses, access to a community of other clothing brand owners, and we do exclusive live streams every single month. You can learn more at apparelsuccessmastermind.com. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.